Hey y'all, welcome back to Key is King. Today I will be recreating Genius because I recorded this entire video yesterday and unbeknownst to me, my lovely piece of shit camera stopped recording very early into my video. In the series of days that I've been having, I could not return to that and finish that project without an attitude. So here we are. We are at Season 9, Episode 6 of Potomac, and we are opening on the other end of a cliffhanger due to rehab. If you remember from last video, Stacy came up to Karen and was just very concerned and let her know that the ladies were talking about her needing to go to rehab for her alcohol. And Karen kind of takes this all in and she doesn't seem to react too much, although we know that she always has a reaction. Karen, I think, has been to rehab before, so she was just like, no, I don't think we're at rehab quite yet. But Mia would know all about rehab, who is the one who said this statement, because she used to have an opioid addiction. So Karen is on her payback mission. It is a revenge plot against Jacqueline and Mia at this point, because Mia's trying to defend Jacqueline so hardcore. But Karen's like, oh, you want to talk about my rehab or needing to go? Let's talk about why you know about rehab so much. Let's talk about why you're an expert or why you can notice things. So apparently Mia had an opioid addiction. And that's nothing to play with, but Stacy's also like disgusted. She's like, oh my god. At this point, she's not feeling, the newscaster's not feeling the slander of it all. But nonetheless, here we are. We have an opioid rehab need and apparently an alcohol rehab need. So, starting off strong in Potomac. The ladies, after having this hash out about rehab, move out to the pool setting, and they're by the pool because we're still in North Kakalaki at the lake. So they're at the pool and they're just talking about different things are going around. Jazzy comes out looking good in gold and almost drowns in the pool. I'm not sure if she thought there was a ledge or if she thought she was taller, but she jumped in the water and almost never came back up to the surface. And they made that very dramatic and very funny. But the ladies start to move on and talk about their relationships a little bit. We start off with Stacy and TJ. She's just kind of giving more details about their relationship following their little FaceTime I love yous the night before. And so the ladies are pointing that out. They're talking about their relationship a little bit. And Stacy's just explaining the dynamic between them, which actually leads to Michael and Ashley. Because Stacy is really connected to Ashley. She's made that very clear in and off of the show. She feels that for whatever reason her and Ashley have very parallel stories, very similar storylines, and she's very interested in kind of like leaning on Ashley as a resource. But once again, that leads to Michael and Ashley talk, and Ashley's talking about finally getting a divorce, which not many people thought would happen. Not many people thought was like in the cards for them per se, but Ashley's saying she's getting a divorce, so kudos to you. So they're talking a divorce, and this leads the women to talk about their relationships, just like kind of down the line. So we have Kay talking about her and her man and how she's a stepmom to his children, and just what that role feels like and how she kind of takes on that space in all of their lives. They move on to talk about, definitely they end with Jazzy, but before they get to Jazzy, they touch on Stacy again. She's just telling more about like her husband and like his knowledge or just awareness of the situation, what's going on with TJ and all that stuff. And then we get to Jazzy. And this is where we start to unravel and kind of pull the first thread of Jazzy and her story, because they put a little compilation together of Jazzy kind of sketchily explaining her situation. She's with her man who won the Super Bowl twice now with the Kansas City Chiefs. And she's saying that before they even got together, he had some children situations going on. So they've been together for 2 years. And he has a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old with the same woman. Dun dun dun. So this is where everyone starts to kind of give her the side eye. They're like, okay, something doesn't quite add up here. The baby math, the girl math, however you want to say it. Something's a little off with that story. So all the ladies are like, okay. But they kind of move on, but they move on with a bit of a cliffhanger with that information. But it took me a minute to do the math and really figure out what the fuck they were trying to insinuate and get at, but quickly it became clear because they made sure it was clear. But they are all chilling at the pool. They're talking about their menses and all that stuff. And so this leads to them kind of dancing and trying to have some fun. Now Stacy is still stiff as hell. just stiff as hell. She's trying to move. They're kind of laughing at her. They're kind of clowning at her. But she doesn't seem to give a fuck. She's like, I think I got it. I think I'm doing it. Like, I love my dancing. So that was very just comedic relief type of content for the episode. But then Mia, who just had an argument with Kay about being a drug dealer, having a drug dealer boyfriend, and all this other stuff, thinks she's going to strip her way into forgiveness. Mia starts, like, dancing near Kay and, like, twerking on her head pretty much, like, putting her ass in her face. And Kay's like, Mia, fuck you. I am not fucking with you still. Like, trying to give her a hug, and she's like, oh, Mia, fuck off. Like, but Mia, I don't care how long or how big or how expensive of a stripper you were, you cannot strip your way into forgiveness with a woman that you just got into a verbal fight with. Like, Mia swears she'd be doing something. But Kay clearly was not here for it, and I found that very funny that she got shut down. Because Mia's one of those people you kind of root for her to get shut down, because what are you really saying or doing? Ever. Ever. Who knows? Mia be lying. We move on after a little pool time to the return of Giselle. Now, you know Giselle is one of the ringleaders of the mess in the shade. So Giselle is back. I think she was gone for maybe 12 hours, 24 hours. I think this is day 2 of this trip technically, and she was there for most of day 1, left to go to her daughter's cap and gown ceremony and came back. So kudos to Giselle for being dedicated to first her children, but also being dedicated to bringing us some mess. Because she was not finna miss this trip, and I don't know if that was an obligation. I don't know, she just felt the desire to come back and get that coin, because, you know, we're getting paid per episode, and she's an OG. So either way you slice it, Giselle made sure she made it back, and she made sure the first thing she did was get caught up on the tea, which Jazzy was sitting there and happy to provide, honestly. So Jazzy's filling her in on the fights that happened while she was gone, all the shade that happened while she was gone, and Giselle is just eating it up. She's living for it. Jazzy tells and details the fight about Kay's scar, because, you know, Ashley and her 80s forehead and lack of 80s brain, the size of that forehead, it's just kind of small. She mentioned Kay's scar after Kay got a scar fighting, or being attacked, let me say, by her friends at her and Giselle's event. So Giselle's very confused as to why Ashley would even bother to mention the scar. Not only that, Giselle's like, she clearly has a scar. What is Ashley talking about? And Jazzy fills her in about how she asked her about her glasses and if she has them and where they are so she can put them on. And so, cue Ashley right on time. She comes to the table all happy to see Giselle and wants to know what's going on. And Giselle's like, I heard you ask Kay about her scar. Like, what is wrong with you? And once again, Ashley's playing stupid. She's playing dumb. And at this point, I don't think she's playing much. She's really trying to. I can't believe I used to love and adore and defend her so much. But she is really just fallen all the way off. And I hope this is giving, like, the prequel to her final season. Because I'm tired of Ashley and her 80s forehead and style. Ooh. But Giselle's like, yeah, no, that don't make any type of sense. Like, I don't get what you're doing. Make it make sense. And she can't. And she won't. So all the ladies start to filter in, and we finally made it to Wendy's birthday. It felt like it has been Wendy's birthday for a few episodes, but I think that's because of the build up to it. But I was not sure at this point, have we passed her birthday? Is her birthday here? But today, in this episode, it's finally Wendy's birthday. So everyone's filtering in, everyone's coming in. Jacqueline comes in and immediately is annoying. She's trying to, like, give her 2 cents about what happened to Giselle as well, and she just gets on my everlasting nerve. She's like the everlasting gobstopper of being annoying. Willy Wonka needs to come wrap that up and bring it to, like, the resale or the overstock place, because I'm over Jacqueline. Over her. I digress, though, because everybody else is coming to breakfast, whatever fucking table they're at, and they start to do shots because it's Wendy's birthday. They're going to get turned. They're about to go on an outing, which we'll detail in just a second. But they're taking shots, and everybody's like, woohoo, Stacy takes a shot, which everybody's like, maybe that'll loosen you up, a little stiffy. And Mia decides she's going to deep throat the tequila handle. First of all, not the tequila. Second of all, why are you putting your throat on anything that is communal? So she proceeds to literally deep throat the nozzle of the handle, pour it back, and immediately, because who can take a shot like that? Not even the biggest whore on this earth could take a shot like that. She like spits pretty much everything back into the bottle, and that's where we would be done, because you just tainted the entire bottle with your honus. And then has the nerve to like pull her throat off the bottle and be like, and that's how you keep two men. You're supposed to be getting a divorce from one of these said men that you've been cheating on with the other one and is questioning the paternity of your child. So like, that's not a flex, and it's not even true. So what are you talking about? Unless you're still sucking and plucking and doing whatever to both of them. Which for a reformed stripper who likes to deep throat tequila bottles, that just might be the case. So Mia swears that's how you keep two men, even though she's allegedly losing one. Great, Mia. Kudos to you and your nasty throat. Oh, that was so gross. But after that lovely time and everybody gets grossed out, they move on to the van because they're going to Mia's chain of chiropractic offices. Mia claims that the doctor that they're going to go see is Dr. McDaddy. And not spelled like you would think. It's like it had a special spelling, but the irony that Mia is associated with somebody called Dr. McDaddy, the irony is not lost on me, and it sounds like a bunch of just lies anyway. Just, alright girl. Everybody was like, oh, okay, yeah, alright, Dr. McDaddy, yeah. So as I said, we are now in the van on the way to the joint chiropractic, and everybody, as they should be, is confused to why this is even the outing. But in the van, Giselle's talking to Stacy and kind of chatting her up and pulling some information out of her, because Giselle, as an OG, as a messy bitch, she is good at that. She can get some information. She knows how to get people to talk a little bit. So Giselle's asking questions in her Giselle way, and she's talking about how TJ's an actor, which... glad we are acknowledging, and not for nothing, they used the picture that I used in one of my old videos, his headshot, and that made me feel super successful somehow. Means literally nothing. But I was like, look at me, my crystal ball, foreseeing the picture that they're going to use. So they're running down the shows he's been on. They did not mention the Parkers, which that's what my eagle eyes caught when I first made this discovery that he's an actor. But they're talking about just like the actor of it all. Like he's an actor, he's been on NCIS, General Hospital, just all these things. And so they're like, oh wow, like he's an actor. And you can see that they're like, well, is this an act? Like, is he acting here? But they're just talking about the acting of it all. Then they move to talk about the dryness of it all, meaning how they are not having sex. It's been like a year and they don't plan to have sex until they're married. And they're like laughing them out. Like everyone's pretty much laughing. What's her name? Stacy and TJ just completely out. They're like, girl, you're crazy. Like, what do you mean? Like, no test driving. Giselle's making a bunch of like stick shift references. In her confessional, she's like, girl, which, I mean, I fall in this category too. They're a bunch of hoes. Cause get the car facts. Get the dick facts, as I say. So they're just laughing her out. And so Stacy's like taking it all. She's like, laugh away. And in her confessional, she said, yeah, Giselle can laugh, but she's laughing alone. And this is what I'm talking about. These new housewives across the franchises are coming with the energy, the shade, the confusion, the grit that they need to have. So it was just good that Stacy got her look back in the confessional saying, okay, you can laugh at me, but you're laughing alone. And I'm laughing with this man, whether he was an actor, gay, or not. So for appearance's sake, she got a point. She really got a point, I guess. So they move on from the lovely van ride and they pull up to the joint chiropractic, and this is what I'm saying. Giselle may be rotted to her core, but she has redeemable qualities still. And the first thing she does when they pull up, literally they put it in the caption and everything, she's like, why are we here? Insane. Somebody needs to ask the question, why are you doing this for Wendy's birthday activity? It does not make sense. It really does not make sense. So they pull up to the joint chiropractic. Mia's so happy, of course, because she's going to show everybody how much of a boss she is. Mind you, this is the same place that they're selling because Mia once owned it and was a partner there. But Gordon had to, like, let it go because of his problems. So if you, I don't know. That's like me saying, like, I own McDonald's, like, corporation or franchise, and I'm going to bring you to it even though I'm being like cut out of the business tomorrow, next week, next month. Like, she's don't be making no sense. So she pulls up to the office and she's like, hi, like I'm here, la, la, la. And the people at the front desk are like, do you know her? I don't really know her. Like, she's like, oh, I've never seen you before, like what's your name? And the guy like introduced himself. And it's giving delusional. It's like if I just pick a random doctor's office to go to and be like, I'm not gonna own this in a couple weeks, but I used to, like, what? These women they're at a chiropractic office and they didn't even get an adjustment. The audacity. For the viewers out there that happen to know me in real life, if you ever plan something for my birthday and bring me to somewhere that offers a service and we don't get said service, we're fighting. I'm cursing you out and I have right to be mad for you. Mad? Okay, cue the crickets. I have the right to be mad at you for at least a calendar year. Because, y'all, she brought these women to this chiropractic office to look at the table that they get on and just stand there. Barely talked about nothing. Like, for somebody's birthday, like, she hates Wendy bad. It's giving hater. It's giving she has not a thing. Because what? And everybody's confused. Like, not one person got it. I don't even know if Jacqueline got it. Because what are we doing? She really brought them there to stand there for 5 minutes, look at a table. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. But they quickly move on, and I couldn't have been happier. I could not have been happier. I really can't believe they did not get adjustments. Like, as somebody who's been to the chiropractor, I cannot believe they went into a chiropractic office and didn't get a single adjustment. So they move on to Wendy's birthday lunch, and unfortunately not much is happening here. It's really kind of a lackluster scene, only a couple noteworthy things. The first being Giselle asked the table, because, you know, as I said before, messy seasoned bitch. This time it's good. She asked the table, like, kind of what happened while I was gone? Like, somebody catch me up to speed. Bring me up to speed, y'all. Which leads to a Mia versus Kay little verbal altercation again, because, of course, Mia can't help herself. And Kay is not, she's not with the shits either. She is not about to just let you say, do, or forget anything. So they get into a little sparring match verbally. Mia can't really hold a candle to anybody. She just is always saying stupid shit or just annoying. So that kind of came as quickly, it went as quickly as it came. Whew. I wonder if I said that in my last video. And so, of course, who has to pipe up and start sharing words that we don't want to hear? None other than Jacqueline, who's talking about how she's like working out or strong or something. She's talking about some bullshit. To the point where Giselle's like, are you throwing shade at Karen? Like, are you talking about Karen out loud? And Jacqueline is on mute. Because apparently she can't say shit out loud. Because, as we know, her line of defense is crying and running away. Or going to run into next to Mia. So if that's your defense of always coming at Karen, who is going to serve you every time, then shut up. Why are you talking so much? Like, but yeah, so Jacqueline thought she was doing something until she was called out, and then she was on mute. And Karen was ready. I don't think Karen even paid her attention this round. But Karen's ready for her. At all times. Trust and believe. That is a little puppy in a big dog cage. Like, my God. So they transition back to the house. They're now getting ready for dinner, which is an all-red theme, although Wendy does not follow said theme. Very much could have been intentional, but she also looked like a train conductor, which we'll get into in a second. But everyone's getting ready for dinner. The theme is red. Everybody looks pretty good for the most part. But there are a few people that are ready a little early, which leads to Giselle and Ashley going outside and having a little chit-chat before everyone's getting together for dinner. Now, what goes from just simple small talk between Ashley and Giselle turns into Ashley sharing that she has a new song, to the sadness of everybody that could hear her speaking. Because we all know what Coffee and Love was like. Her, I guess, dedication, well, it wasn't, I guess. It was her dedication to Michael. I don't know why Coffee and Love specifically, but that was her song that she was singing at local pride events and really going on the news with. So Ashley really thinks she's doing something, and I guess now that Candace is gone, she feels like she can really be the songstress again. But she premiered this, I won't call it whack, song last season, and everybody was like, yeah, Thriving and Surviving, I think it's called. So she takes the opportunity to sing this song to Giselle, because it has now a new EDM beat. Giselle literally said psych. Like, I don't think she didn't say psych to Ashley, but she was just like, looking at her like, girl, what? Because the song's not it. The beat was not EDM. Giselle made that clear. Giselle literally made her own beat in the confessional and made the remix. Like, the remix sounded better than the original. Because Ashley can't sing, and she doesn't have any musical, like, real idea or talent, in my opinion. In my opinion. So Giselle's just like, no, song's not good. Sorry. It sucks. But go off, sis. Go off. But in Ashley's will. Trust me when I tell you, she'll probably bring it to every local news station in the Potomac area, trying to get it off the ground. So thrive and survive right into the trash. Thank you. Thank you. So as the ladies are gathering, apparently there's a smell in the air. I think a couple people mentioned it, but Jacqueline is insistent that it's somebody's pussy. It's not Sweet Pussy Saturday over in North Carolina. I'll say it that way. She's convinced somebody's puss stinks, and she's just screaming it. And then what does she do? She takes it upon herself to sniff Mia's cooch in the middle of the kitchen. Bravo. I need you to take these lesbians and get them off of this show. I love lesbians, obviously. You know where I sit on what side of the rainbow. But I'm sick of them. They can be the Sister Wives of Potomac or something. We can start maybe a new show that I won't watch. But please take their torrid lesbian affair off of my screen, because they're getting on my nerves. Like, Jacqueline, you're the same woman that was like delusional, pretending that you had your own room and were so upset that you were sleeping with me, and now you're just sniffing her puss on camera in the middle of the kitchen. Get a grip. Get a grip. Girl. After sniffing puss, they get into the van and they're on the way to dinner now. So on the way to dinner, they decide to play a little game of Fuck, Marry, Kill, which is, I like that game, but they're only playing with the people in the van. That's the only pool of candidates they have. So of course they're going through the game, and Kay is the most married. I think people just love her chill vibe. She's very straightforward, blunt. She's an entrepreneur. So like, okay, you're calm, you're rich, you stand on business, as you say. So she's the most married, and I would agree. Mia is the most fucked because, if you walk like a hoe, you talk like a hoe, baby, it's a hoe. So Mia's the most fucked because she's the most experienced. We'll say it that way. And she seems to be loving it. She seems to really be indulging in it. You know who's not indulging so much in it? Jacqueline, who apparently has nominated herself as the queen bee of Mia's vagina. I guess if there's other women involved in Mia's vagina, Jacqueline wants everyone to know that she's the top spot. Like, the shit that she fights for to be Mia's number one is beyond me. But once again, if you want to be lesbian lovers, then, like, go do that. And do it on your own time, please. We have plenty of lesbians on Bravo. You won't be missed. I promise you won't be missed. But Jacqueline went on to explain how that's her number one spot and nobody can take it. I don't know if anybody wants it, girl. Besides you, Mia, and Ink, and maybe Gordon some days. But yeah, so Mia's the most fucked. And no shocker, Jacqueline's the most killed. I would have killed her 3 times before I picked anybody else for the other categories, actually. That's what I would have done. And she seems to be offended by this, as if she has no idea why. Girl, you are the lowest woman on the totem pole. Like, please, take the hint. Don't come back. They said they all wanted to kill you. That must hurt. Let it, feel that pain. Feel that pain. And then don't come back after you feel it. Thank you. Thank you. So they finally make it to dinner, and we start off with some much needed Wendy appreciation. And I don't say that because, like, I overly love Wendy. I say that because, like, she's had a very hard time with the way these women treat her since she's been on this show. Her first season was probably good and, like, nothing crazy because she was still in good graces, but the colorism, the exclusion that Wendy has gone through, she really did deserve just a happy, positive moment about her on this show. I truly do believe, and this is that. She spoke about herself first, her accomplishments and how happy she is to be 40, kind of where she got. And it was just nice for her to have that moment to just boost herself, be happy about herself, and really promote herself in that way. And then it moved on to the ladies, and they all went around the table and had very nice things to say about Wendy as well. Even Giselle, which was nice, even though I think it's still fake as all, but it was nice that all the women stopped to really highlight her genuinely and say good things about her, and Wendy really did deserve it. I know she fumbles the ball often, and she can't really close a loop, not in my book at least, but she did deserve a nice moment of genuineness and of kind words. Everybody does, but Wendy definitely deserved it, especially on a national platform, which she's been disparaged so much on. So I was here for that. Who didn't seem to be as here for it as it could be? Stacey, because she was like, this is very nice, this is very sweet, but let's get to the little shade. In her best newscaster voice, she's like, so Jazzy, tell us a little bit more about your man. So Stacey didn't miss a beat, and she's like, I didn't forget. Let's clear it up. And so Jazzy proceeds to start talking about her man a little bit. And she really kind of breaks down the timeline, and she's, once again, I'll say it again for those of you who are not mathematicians like myself, she's been with her man for 2 years. He recently has a 1-year-old child and has a 3-year-old child with the same woman. So everyone's listening to her talk, everyone's making faces and kind of trying to do the math like that meme. They're like, and Giselle's the one to be like, oh, so you're the side piece. You don't really want to say that, but like, you were happy with that, you chose that, that's your ministry, if you will. And so like, okay, and okay, that makes sense. But yeah, Jazzy's telling her story and everybody's like giving her the side eye, making little comments, but she's in it and she's trying to explain it the best she can without really giving details. But Stacey was like, thank you. It was funny. I loved it. I was like, okay, Stace, you keep playing that game. You keep playing that game. And so I'm pretty sure as a result of Stacey asking that question, they did make mention that Stacey has like loosened up on this trip a little bit. She's kind of opened up and seems more fun, but they keep talking about like, you loosened up. And we cut to Karen being Karen, and this shit had me howling. Because Karen was like, yeah, Stacey is loose on this trip. She really did loosen up. She loosened up so much, she asked me about my charges 3 or 4 times. Karen was like, she looser than a motherfucker. That had me cracking up, because Karen, I tell Joe, Karen don't miss no shade, whether she reacts at the moment or not. Because Stacey was doing that whole innocent shade thing, like, I don't know what I'm saying, like, was I offensive? And Karen was just like, you're supposed to be my friend, I need allies this season, so I'm gonna let you live. But I knew Karen, it was a matter of time before she mentioned something about Stacey and her shade. So that was very funny. But before they end dinner, though, Kay has a story to kind of relate to Jazzy, because Ashley, as Jazzy was explaining her story, essentially was like, okay, you guys might have like an unconventional relationship, and like, that's cool, that's the era we live in of unconventional relationships. And so Kay's like, actually, yeah, I was in a situation very similar. I was dating somebody in the NFL. He had Irish twins, in that, which she didn't really want to detail, but he had Irish twins, or hood twins, if you will. And so she's like, yeah, I can relate. Like, I've been in a situation like that. This is how I dealt with it. This is how I navigated it. And who but Mia is like, oh, what team did he play for? And I love Kay's response, because she was like, at this point, he played for Jesus. And I'm going to start using that when I can. Clearly in certain situations, but I just love the response of, instead of giving the information, just being like, oh, he was on Team Jesus. That's what he played for. That was very funny, and it kept Mia partially muted, because Mia's like, oh, well, that happened to me too, so I wanted to see if it was like the same man that we dealt with. Just picking at Kay. Like, I feel like that's just like, she's looking for an avenue just to engage, and she's one of those people that will try to engage with somebody instead of just being like, let me not. So Mia's trying to, then she starts guessing like team names, as if Kay's going to like be like, yep, it was the Ravens. Yep, you got me. But Mia be lying, and I wonder where that fit in her whole timeline of men and affairs and being in love and sucking on tequila bottles. So Mia claims, but she claims a lot, doesn't she, y'all? Yes, she does. Yes, she does. She needs to play for Team Jesus. That's what she needs to do. So we move on to the next morning, and this is how we're ending the episode, with a group of hungover housewives. Wendy looks like she is hanging on to life by a thread. Like, she looks so hungover and so done. with life, and she's standing next to, or sitting next to, none other than the chipper newscaster herself, Stacey. Stacey Stacey explains how she's used to being up at like the ass crack of dawn for the news, and how being up in the morning does not affect her. So Stacey is up, newscaster ready and chipper. So she's like, and Wendy's like, Stacey, if you don't get the fuck away from me, like, be quiet. She didn't say that to her, but that was very much the vibe. And then the commercial, she's like, I just want Stacey to be quiet. I want her to get away from me right now. So Stacey takes the hint eventually and starts making her chipper rounds to all the hungover people, which is just comedy. Because Stacey be acting like she dumb and she don't know what's happening, but she knows exactly what she's doing. So everyone's getting ready. Ash is miserable and hungover. Wendy's barely sitting upright. Stacey's like ready to jog. And so they are cutting to Mia and Jacqueline talking about Jazzy. Because apparently her relationship status is still fresh on the brain. And so they're talking about it, and they're like, well, she's the side piece. Like, she's obviously the side piece. And Jacqueline goes, well, she's about to get a house with this man. Like, what? Like, side piece? Like, essentially saying, like, that's not side piece status. And Mia's like, well, I was a side piece and I got a house. A part of me wishes, but a part of me was like, shut up. Shut up, Mia. Shut up. Because as we know, the man she's divorcing now, she stole from somebody or was like his side chick. So you lose him how you get him. Is that the saying? Get him how you lose him, whatever. I think it's lose him how you get him. But that's how we end the episode. Everyone's heading back to Potomac. They're getting in their respective cars. And the reality is sinking in for Karen that she has to go back home and deal with her DUI charges and going to court and litigation and all of everything about that. But that was the episode. This video, I think, recorded in one piece, and if it didn't, I'm about to burn the city down. About to burn the city down. So, let's hope, y'all. Let's hope. As always, I appreciate you guys for coming and checking me out. Make sure you check all my other videos, which I'm sure will pop up around here somewhere. And as always, please do not forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And I will see you soon for something else.